Optimum this year is one of Canada's 10 most influential brands. Clearly an achievement, so congratulations. Perhaps we can start kind of broad, and perhaps you could tell me a little bit about your views on what kinds of trends you see emerging that are challenging the grocery retail business.
We are definitely influenced by consumer behavior changes, and there's a few areas that are impacting us. One is really around how people shop, so moving more to pickup, to online grocery, changes how people select product, how their expectations on delivery, and their expectations on sort of the speed of service. We'd also seen a lot of shifting in people's behaviors around what they were buying. And that's really related to less dining out in restaurants, more cooking at home, somewhat of a return to entertaining that's shifting between large gatherings and small gatherings. So shopping behavior is fluid, and people moved in the early part of the year from a mission-driven shopping trip where they just wanted to get in, get through the store and get out, and they made larger but less trips, to now returning to more of a discovery shop where they're taking more frequent trips, discovering what else is new. And we've seen, from a marketing standpoint, the return of sampling in store, more shelf activity, more display activity in stores as people return to that sort of discovery mindset.
So does that reflect a snap back to what was normal before, or is it a different kind of discovery?
I think in terms of what it reflects, going into 2022, wouldn't we love to snap back? I'm not sure we're quite there yet, so maybe call it a extended stretch back versus a snap back. And so I think we'll see a slower shift to a new behavior. People have tried new brands, they've discovered new ways to shop, they've changed how they eat at home. Their habits around dining out are different. I don't think we'll see that return immediately to a pre-COVID world. I think there'll be some permanent shifts inside that.
Are there some things that you would say, there are also some disruptive forces, and here are 2 or 3 of them?
I don't know if I would call the move to digital and online shopping disruptive. We knew that was happening, but certainly the acceleration of that was disruptive. And so what that is causing all companies to look at, I think, is their operational systems that support that, so that consumers continue to, those expectations continue to be elevated from a consumer standpoint, and we continue to rise to meet them. So I would say that is probably the most disruptive part of the journey that has changed. I think it's really this move between bricks and mortar and online, and the blurring of that sort of environment.
Think about influence and brand influence. What does that mean to you? And B, given what's happened in the last 12 to 24 months, is it different now than it was in the past?
So ultimately, influential brands influence consumer behavior because they've created that connection and that shortcut to, what do I expect from this company and this product? So that for me has always been true. And I think in the last 2 years, what's changed is that consumers have been under incredible stress. We've been in lockdowns, there's a global pandemic. Broadly, people are experiencing incredible amounts of stress, which means that they don't have time and energy to research and make extra decisions. And so they're relying on those brand shortcuts. What do I know about this brand? Will it deliver against my expectations, to make decisions? And so for me, brand is elevated because people have less time to make these decisions.
So I get the idea of shortcuts, the concept behind it. But tell me a little bit about how mechanically brands, and in your case, your brands, go about influencing people.
The brands influence people by having an experience that exceptionally meets their needs. And that's where PC Optimum does an amazing job of helping people get rewarded for things they do every day. And then the advertising and the marketing is really amplifying that truth. It's something people can count on. We have been very focused on engaging our customers in our digital experience where it's more valuable for them. And so our consumers all consumers in the program are pretty happy, and then those that are digitally engaged in our app experience, in our weekly offer loading that occurs on the app, those that engage with our content where we have tips and recipes and extra elements, those are our most engaged consumers and the ones that love the brand the most and where we would likely have the most influence. So we have millions and millions of customers that are engaged in the program that earn points. We give out almost $1 billion or more than $1 billion a year in points as rewards. Our journey around personalization has really progressed across the year and will continue to do that. So all year long, when you're inside our app experience, the offers that you're receiving are personalized to your behavior. But culminating at the end of this year was a points story that showed you all that you earned through the year. Special things that drove the most points for you, things that you redeemed on, really surprise and delight facts. PC Optimum is really part of the value you get from shopping at all our banners, working, like ordering your groceries through PC Express, getting a PC MasterCard, PC Money account. Optimum is sort of the fundamental part of how you kind of connect to our ecosystem.
And so whether we're talking about emerging trends or disruptions, what 2 or 3 implications are there for you in the role that you have as a major marketer with a major grocery retailer?
I think the first and foremost, we always have to stay connected to what our consumer is doing, expecting, how they are behaving. And so being laser focused on what's changing, how people are feeling, how they're experiencing the brand is incredibly important now more than ever. And so that's sort of, I would say, job one is staying tight with the consumer. The second is we need to continually create more one-to-one and personalized connections with our consumers. And that's where PC Optimum, as you said, as one of Canada's most influential brands, plays a huge role, really understanding our consumer and helping their experience get better and better through our PC Optimum app and the digital engagement that our consumers have. And so I would say understanding consumers, becoming more personalized and relevant all the time, and shifting our marketing to meet people where they are in that moment.
So huge focus on engagement and personalization.
Yeah.
What about advertising?
We made some big bets in advertising this year that were net new. I would say one area of focus was integrating PC Optimum into everything that we do across the whole PC family of brands. We ran a very successful contest towards the end of the year called Scan to Win, and we engaged customers from an advertising perspective using a really breakthrough ad, featured some custom music we worked on, and that really helped us to drive incremental digital engagement. We will do more Optimum work in the future, helping consumers understand the value of the program and how they get the most value out of it. So we've had a lot of great experience with creators in TikTok, in Instagram, who are showing how they're getting the best offers. They have promoted the Scan to Win program. We have an influencer right now who's working on, from a financial perspective, how to use your rewards as part of your financial planning for the year. So I think there's lots of different ways we tap into experts, whether they're influence, like experts on getting rewards, experts on shopping, experts on food, experts on finances, to sort of help consumers get information about the brand.
You've talked about a lot of things that you've been doing. If you had to pick one that was different from what you've done in the past, is there one that would stand out as clearly being different?
I'm going to pick 2 things that are really different that, well, I wouldn't say they're different. I would say they are amplified in 2021 and as we move forward into 2022. One is personalization, whether it's personalized flyer offers, personalized engagement, personalized marketing. That's clearly where we've been and where we're headed. And I think the second would be integration. So integration across the PC family and integration across our divisions and banners so that consumers can get the most value out of PC Optimum, regardless of where they are in our entire network.
Trust, engagement, corporate citizenship, being leading edge, having presence, and COVID. Which one or two do you think are the primary drivers, or contributors, if you like, to the influence that Optimum has in 2021?
I definitely think it's engagement. So I think our engagement with our program is so high, whether you're earning at Shoppers Drug Mart, you're earning at Esso Gas, and presence. I would say engagement and presence would be my top two drivers of influence for PC Optimum, because consumers are engaged with the program on a regular basis, and our presence is really across the country in so many different banners, in so many different areas, that I think it's, that would be what my choice would be.
What inspires you?
The work in sort of more emerging industries. So if I look at the work in metaverse, in AR, in sort of that VR universe, I'm really inspired by what I see happening in gaming, because I just think they're connecting with the consumer in a totally different way, and it's changing how people interact with technology. I think the other place that I'm really inspired is in the work in analytics and in the technology that supports sort of data innovation. And I think that is also a place that I find really fascinating, whether it's, the use of healthcare data, whether it's really just using data in unique ways to understand customers' journeys and insights, and how you can scale data across multiple different habits and sources to sort of create a sort of a genuine picture of the future, I think is fascinating.
So a young marketer comes to you and says, I'm responsible for a brand and I'm struggling with how to generate more influence for the brand that I'm responsible for. What advice would you give that young marketer?
I would say start with your customer and resist the urge to design a product for your company. Design it for the customer.